Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're taking aim at something we all think we want, this fundamental belief that comfort is the ultimate goal, that it equals freedom.
Right. But we've been looking at some source material that flips that idea completely on its head.
It really does. It suggests that comfort, when it becomes your default, isn't a reward at all. It's actually a trap.
It's a very counterintuitive idea, but the argument is just so compelling. The sources talk about the status quo, the life most people live, not as some kind of safe harbor, but as a prison.
A psychological prison.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One that we build for ourselves. And the scary part is most people don't even realize they're locked inside.
So what are the bars of this cage made of? I mean, they're not physical.
No, they're forged from things we actually value. Things like safety, routine, old habits, even an old identity that we've outgrown.
And it all serves one purpose, right? To avoid discomfort, to keep life familiar and predictable.
And that's why this deep dive isn't really for people who are in an active crisis. It's for the person who thinks their life is, pretty good.
The person with the reliable paycheck, the steady relationship, the good job. On paper, everything looks fine.
That's the word, fine. And that's the psychological quicksand we're talking about. Because the sources warn us that fine isn't great. Fine is just familiar.
It's what you've practiced. It's the life you sort of defaulted into, not the one you consciously chose.
And that default is the real danger. Because you can spend years, decades even, just coasting instead of actively creating.
So our mission today is to unpack those subtle signals, the ones that tell you you're settling. And then we need to look at the huge hidden costs of choosing that comfort over and over again.
Okay, so let's start with those signals, because you're right. Nobody just wakes up one day and decides they want a boring life.
No, it creeps in. It starts small, long before there's some big crisis. So where does that restlessness begin?
Well, it usually starts as a whisper, or maybe just a low-grade irritation that doesn't really have a clear cause.
I think I know that feeling. Like it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon and you just feel off.
Yeah.
For no reason.
That's it, exactly. Or just a giant, lack of inspiration. You're just going through the motions.
And then there's the big one for today's world, the scroll addiction.
Oh, absolutely. That endless scrolling is a numbing agent. It's designed to help you avoid that nagging feeling that you could be doing something more, something amazing with your life.
Which brings us to the paradox.
Yeah.
If everyone says they want a great life, full of joy and meaning and amazing experiences, why do most of us just choose the comfortable path instead?
Well, this is where the source material gives us a really crucial distinction. It reframes that entire question.
Okay.
The sources insist we don't actually choose comfort.
You don't choose it.
No, we default to it. It's not a conscious choice for mediocrity. It's just following the path of least resistance. Our brains are literally hardwired for it.
Okay, but we're thinking adults. Shouldn't we be able to override that wiring? Why is the brain always winning this fight?
In a word, survival. It's
Yeah.
pure evolution. Your brain's number one priority isn't your happiness. It's not your potential.
It's safety.
It is only your safety. And to the brain, predictability equals safety. Anything uncertain is a potential threat.
So it hates new things. It hates risk. But the risks we face today are so different.
Totally different. I mean, think about it. 100,000 years ago, uncertainty could literally mean death. A new sound in the bushes could be a saber-toothed tiger.
Right, so staying on the known path kept you alive.
It kept you alive long enough to pass on your genes, so that system is incredibly strong. But today, new isn't a predator. New is starting a business.
Or leaving a job that you hate, or ending a relationship that's just not working anymore.
Or even just showing up as your true self. But your ancient nervous system, it can't tell the difference between a real predator and, say, the fear of being judged on social media.
So when you feel that pull, that little tug towards something more, the alarm bells just go off.
Immediately. And they are loud. They're not whispering. That alarm is screaming in the voice of fear.
Stay in the known. Stay safe. Stay small.
Stay nice, stay quiet, don't you dare risk failure or judgment. And these feelings, imposter syndrome, procrastination, that's just the modern manifestation of that ancient alarm system.
So your job then is to teach your brain that change today doesn't equal death.
That's it. Through small, repeated actions, you have to show your nervous system that it's safe to grow.
And that's so hard because comfort just feels so good in the moment. That's the insidious part of the trap.
It's the most sinister part. Sitting on the couch, scrolling on your phone, it's an immediate reward. But the cost is deferred, the bill comes due later, in a future that, as the sources say, is 100% coming for you.
And we're all focused on the wrong thing. We're focused on the cost of action.
Right. We think about the hard work, the risk of failure, maybe losing a paycheck, and that immediate cost feels way too high.
So the trick is to flip the script. You have to consciously shift your focus to the cost of inaction.
Exactly. The source material says change only happens when the pain of remaining the same becomes more painful than the pain of change. But we need to dig into what that cost really is. It's not just about money.
Not at all. It's about what you're giving up every single day.
It's things like your self-worth, because you're constantly silencing your own voice. It's the resentment that builds in your relationships because you're always keeping the peace instead of setting a boundary.
It's even your physical energy. It just declines because you're not engaging your mind or moving your body in an exciting way.
That's the opportunity cost in real time. Saying yes to that job you just tolerate means you're saying no to the energy of building something you love.
You are basically guaranteeing that you will not access your full potential.
Because there's absolutely zero growth without discomfort. You have to be stretched to evolve. It's that simple.
This reminds me of that analogy from the source, is the one that's kind of terrifying. The mentor's lesson.
Oh yeah, you're either green and growing or you're brown and dying.
It's harsh, but it makes the point. There's no sustainable middle ground. If you're in the same place you were a year ago, you're actually moving backward.
Right, because the world is moving forward. It's like a stagnant pond. It just gets that film on top, bugs start to gather. Life needs movement.
Our mindsets need to be stretched, our dreams, our relationships. They all need those uncomfortable conversations to actually grow.
And when you avoid that, when you stay in that comfort zone, you're just numbing yourself. But the thing about numbing is you can't pick and choose.
What do you mean?
When you numb the lows, the anxiety, the boredom, the fear, you automatically dull the highs. You lose the sharp edge of joy, the fire of passion, that spark of curiosity.
So the comfort zone is literally where your dreams go to die.
That's a perfect way to put it. We put them on a shelf and say, oh, I'll get to that when life settles down.
But it never settles down.
Never. And then you wake up 20 years later in a life you tolerated, not one you chose. And that right there is the ultimate cost of inaction.
Okay, so how do we get out? How do we dismantle this cage we've built?
Well, first, a really important warning. You don't just blow everything up overnight.
Right, that would just shock your nervous system and you'd retreat right back into the cage.
Exactly. It's not sustainable. You have to start slowly. You have to be intentional.
And the first strategy is to learn how to follow the whisper.
Yes. That quiet voice, that little nudge, that thing you're curious about, that's your intuition. That's your soul talking. And you have to learn to hear it because fears scream, but inspiration whispers.
And most people are just deafened by the screaming of their fears.
Completely. So you have to create quiet space to hear it. Meditation, walks without headphones, journaling, whatever it takes to turn down the volume on the noise.
Which leads right into the next strategy, which has to become a daily practice.
Making discomfort a routine. You have to get good at being uncomfortable on purpose.
It's like exposure therapy for life.
It is. You don't throw someone who's afraid of snakes into a pit of vipers. You start with a snake in a box on the other side of the room. You let their nervous system learn that it can be in the presence of the fear and still be okay.
So what does that look like in real life? What's the snake in the box?
It's something small. It could be setting a boundary with a coworker, applying for a job you feel maybe 10% underqualified for.
Or just saying that one thing in a conversation that you usually avoid saying.
Yes. Or posting that vulnerable thought online. The point is, you will not die because you posted on Instagram. You will not die because you set a boundary.
Every time you do one of those small, scary things, you're gathering data for your nervous system.
Positive data. You're showing it that uncertainty is survivable. And over time, that purposeful discomfort, it starts to feel like momentum.
And that's when you can start to redefine what safety even means. True safety isn't about avoiding risk.
No. True safety is stepping into the risk, knowing you have the ability to handle whatever happens next.
Which brings us to the biggest takeaway from this whole deep dive. The sources state it so powerfully. If you don't risk anything in your life,
You risk everything in your life.
you risk missing out on all of it. The connection, the joy, the love, the experiences you could have had.
All because you decided to stay in that comfortable, predictable, stagnant place.
The bottom line is, you don't need more comfort. You need more courage. That's the key. It's not about finding a softer place to land. It's about building the strength to fly.
And to make this really actionable, we want to leave you with a question. A crucial question you should write down and ask yourself constantly.
Ask it every time you feel yourself wanting to shrink, to keep the peace, to settle. The question is this: what is my comfort costing me right now?
Ask it when you feel that restlessness, when you reach for your phone to scroll, when you hear fear screaming at you to back down.
And remember, your comfort zone, that prison, it doesn't lock from the outside.
It locks from within. You're the only one who has the key. And that key is awareness. It's making a different choice. It's deciding to be courageous.
The good news is you built the cage, and that means you can dismantle it. One brave, uncomfortable choice at a time.
So we'll leave you with a final thought to explore. Forget the huge, scary dreams for a moment. What is the smallest, most insignificant act of discomfort you can practice today, maybe in the next hour, just to show your nervous system that you won't die?
Start there. Start small, but start now. And just see where that one step leads.